Hello students, today we learn about the garment inspection. That means how we are going to be ensured the quality is being maintained in garments. Any product should be quality to when a consumer purchases, and we at least expect that there will be a quality so that we get the satisfaction out of using that particular material. Maybe it is a garment. Garvin 1988, he proposed that a definition of quality can be product based or user based or manufacturing based or value based. A product based definition of quality views quality as a precise and measurable variable. Differences in quality reflect differences in the quantity of some ingredient or attribute possessed by a product. A user based definition of quality simply means that quality is whatever the customer says or wants, which goes back to meeting or exceeding customers' requirements and expectations. A manufacturing based definition of quality means meeting specifications, conformance to requirements. Any deviation from meeting requirements means poor quality. A value based definition of quality takes into consideration cost or price of a product or service. The fitness for used concept to garments include it should be free from defects such as stains, material defects, that open seams, loose hanging, that is untrimmed threads, and misaligned buttons and buttonholes, defective zippers, and so on. It must fit properly for the label size and it must perform satisfactorily in normal use. The quality as defined by ISO is the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. So, quality should not be confused with the grade. So, grade is defined as a category or rank indicator of the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service intended for the same functional use or purpose oriented at a specified cost related to consumer use or user market. And then grade reflects that additional features and characteristics may be desirable, usually for added cost, and that a different version of the product or service is thus defined. The terms that are being defined by the American National Standard ANSI by ASOC A3, quality systems are being defined, and in this the quality management is that aspect of the overall management function that determines and implements the quality policy. And then quality systems means the organizational structure, responsibilities, procedures, processes and resources for implementing quality management. And quality plan means a document setting out the specific quality practices, resources and activities relevant to a particular product, service, control or project. Quality policy means the overall intentions and directions of an organization as regards quality as formally expressed by top management. Quality assurance is all those planned or systematic actions necessary to provide adequate confidence that a product or service will satisfy given requirements for quality. The quality control means the operational techniques and the activities used to fulfill requirements of quality. And statistical quality control means the application of statistical techniques to the control of quality. Then inspection means activities such as measuring, examining, testing, gauging one or more characteristics of a product or service and comparing these with specified requirements to determine conformity. And then testing means a means of determining the capability of an item to meet specified requirements by subjecting the item to a set of physical, chemical, environmental or operating actions and conditions. Then coming to the factors that influence consumers' perception of quality, one is the price and the other one is the technology and also the psychology of the consumers and time orientation, whether they are fashionable or not, and then they are the contractual or ethical. Then coming to the quality inspection, that is in the apparel industries. So, what is a quality inspection? That means that it is the visual examination or review of raw materials, partially finished components of garments and completely finished garments in relation to some standards, specifications or requirements, as well as measuring the garments to check if they meet the required measurements. And the principle involved in the inspection. The principle involved in inspection is the early detection of the defects, feedback to the appropriate persons and determination of the cause, and ultimately resulting in the correction of the problem. The main objective of inspection is detection of defects and non-conformances as early as possible in the manufacturing process, so that time and money are not wasted or later on in either correcting the defect or writing off defective garments. For effective inspection, the entire loop shown in the figure should be completed. Quality inspection in apparel industries is done to control quality of garments. Broadly, it consists of checking of fabric, sewing thread, button, stitch, zipper, garment size, etc. according to required standard or specifications, and is known as inspection. Quality inspection is important for every section of apparel industries. Then we will see how the quality is being controlled in the industries. And they do that inspection in the raw material stage, and also the inspection is conducted while in process, that means when the garments are being made, and also after the garments are being made, that is the final inspection. So, the inspection done for the raw materials generally include the fabric inspection, sewing thread inspection and checking of the trims and accessories. Then coming to the fabric inspection, it should be checked in view of the quality required in the final garment, because the quality of the final garment is the final thing, and there will be an agreement between the industry and the the one who is going to take up the particular garment. So, according to their standards, agreed standards, they should be able to perceive the quality of the final garment, and they have to insist on the particular quality of the fabric. Checking the fabric is paramount, as it avoids further problems associated with rejections of the final products due to maybe noticeable defects, or maybe sometimes they are not noticeable, but defects are being present. It is done through fabric inspection machines, and these are very important for every industry. The machine consists of a perching platform, the underneath of which a lighting mechanism is present to show the defects clearly. The fabric from the bolt is brought over the lighted platform with the help of rollers, and is again withdrawn after checking it and rolled on another bolt. In fabric inspection, several aspects of the fabric are being checked. Fabric defects such as a hole in the fabric, bare effect, or different types of stains, off shade or shade variations, etc. are being inspected. In fabric inspection, sometimes fabric strength, color, handle, quantity and other things are being checked. So, to check the fabric defects, there are different systems that are invoked, that is 4-point system, 10-point system, etc. So, when we see the systems that are invoked today are the 4-point system, 10-point system, Grantville 78 system, Dallas system, Textile Distributors Institute system, 4-point system revised. Among all these, the 4-point system is also called as the American Apparel Manufacturer Association system of determining the fabric quality, is widely used for grading the fabrics. So, the aspects of this system are maximum number of defect points to be counted against one linear ad is going to be 4 points, and the fabric is graded regardless of the end product, and a defect point is not consistent unit of measure, and this system makes no provision for the probability of minor defects causing seconds, and there is no standard viewing conditions for inspecting fabric. No industry standard or acceptable limits exists for shortage in the number of yards on a roll of fabric, and again it depends on business relationship between the seller and the buyer, the end product, the season in which it is being produced, and the volume of the shipment. And no standard sampling plans available in the industry for the inspection of the fabric, and then there should be practice of attaching tags for defects, maybe around 1/8 inch yarn credit for every 4 defect point can be given. So, as per the 4-point system, the criteria followed for giving penalty points are, and it depends upon the length of the defect, and defects up to 3 inches are given a penalty point of 1, and defects more than 3 inches, but less than 6 inches are given a penalty point of 2 inches when 2, and the defects which are more than 6 inches and less than 9 inches are given 3 points, and then defects more than 9 inches are given 4 penalty points. The holes and other openings having largest dimensions like 1 inch or less, it may be given penalty points of 2, or if it is more than 1 inch, it can be given a penalty point of 4. In 4-point system, fabric quality is evaluated by unit points by 100 square yards, that is points per 100 square yards is equal to total points in the roll multiplied by 36 and even multiplied by 100 divided by fabric length in ads multiplied by fabric width in inches. Normally, fabric roll containing 40 points per 100 square yards are acceptable. For example, a fabric roll of 120 yards long and 46 inches wide contains some of the defects, such as 4 defects up to 3 inches length, and so they are given 1 point. So, 4 into 1 makes 4 points, and there are 3 defects from 3 inch to 6 inches length, and so each one is given 2 penalty points, that becomes 2 into 3 6 points, and then 2 defects from 6 to 9 inch lengths which are given a penalty point of 3 again, and it forms the 6 points again, and then 1 defect over 9 inches length. So, this is given a penalty point of 4, 1 into 4 becomes 4 points, and then 1 hole is there over 1 inch, and so it has the penalty point of 4. So, 1 into 4 becomes the 4 points. So, total defect points in this particular example is 24 points, and therefore, the penalty points for 100 square yards is going to be 24 points into 3600 and divided by 120 into 46, that makes around 15.652 points. Since this 15.652 is below 40 points, this is a acceptable sample. So, let us see the 4-point system acceptable levels. Any running defect more than 4 continuous yards will cause the roll to be rejected, that is one thing, and for normal fabric width of 36 inches, the penalty point should not exceed 40 per 100 linear yards. Fabric width up to 64-66 inches shall be classified as first quality if number of penalty points therein does not exceed 50 points for 100 linear yards. For fabric width wider than 64 to 66 inches, acceptable penalty points should be proportional of 50 points per 100 linear yards. In that case, we can use 64 inches and take it as a standard. In general, acceptable level of points per 100 linear yards or points per 100 square yards are different for different fabrics. For example, for cotton twill or denim, 28 points for 100 square yards. For individual fabric roll, maybe 23 points for 100 square meters. For all synthetic fabrics, 20 point for 100 square yards. For individual fabric roll, maybe 16 points for 100 square meters. Then coming to the sewing thread inspection, during stitching fabric, frequent breakage of sewing thread is one of the great problems for garment manufacturing. So, it is necessary to check thread construction, the sewability, the color of the thread, whether it is matching or not, there are any imperfections in sewing, and the finish or the package and the density of the package and how the winding has been taken place on the package, the adage of sewing thread. So, these are the points to be checked in. In case of sewability, the thread chosen for the particular fabric should be of a correct size, then only it will be able to sew perfectly and it will be able to make a proper stitch on the material. And when you take the color of the thread should be similar to the color of the fabric that is being taken, and maybe tolerant difference may be present, but generally it should be able to match, otherwise there will be problem. Stitches are seen on the fabric which is not desirable to the consumer. And in case of these threads, the imperfections may be present, sometimes thick and thin places may be present, and that should not be there, and because it is going to make the breakage in the while sewing, and so it will be a defect, and so it should be correctly checked. And then the package should be seen correctly and where it is being finished, and so that we will see how much we can utilize that thread in that particular package. The density of the package should also be equal. When we take 2-3 cobs, then it should be same, and so that the operator will be using it without much difference in the density of the fabric, in density of the yarn on the cob. And then the winding should also be proper, otherwise there will be a problem associated with it, because it may suddenly release the thread or it may release a little with tension, and so the winding should also be proper on the thread, and the adage of sewing thread should also be in a proper way. In thread construction, we see the thread number, thread ply, number of twists, the twist balance, thread tenacity, thread elongation. Then in case of trims and accessories, we check the buttons, we check the zippers, and we also check the interlinings and the labels and the tags. Coming to the checking of buttons, buttons should have large clean sew holes that are free from flash and will not cut the thread. Holes must be located properly in relation to the edge of the button, and then buttons should be of uniform thickness. The color or shade of the buttons should be within a certain visual tolerance. Buttons should be able to withstand laundering, dry cleaning and pressing without any changes such as cracks or melting surfaces, or it may be scotched and change in the color or the shade. Then coming to the buckles, buckles should be checked for any visual defects such as sharp blurred edges, and if a buckle is cloth or vinyl covered, there should not be an appreciable difference in the buckle and garment materials. Then in case of snap fasteners, the attaching machinery should locate the snap fasteners accurately and at proper pressure. Component parts should be checked to close tolerances and free from dirt and other foreign substances, so that they will feed rapidly through the hopper and permit uniform and trouble-free assembly. Hardness and workability of metals are important factors in this, and the snap fasteners should attach firmly and withstand maximum pull. The snapping actions of the snaps must be positive yet easy enough for practical use. And then let us look at zippers and what are the checking points over there. And the dimensions are to be checked first for the correct width of the tape. If it is not correct, the machine will run off. And measure overall length of the zipper closed from the extreme ends of the metal. Tape extension should be specified. Top and bottom stops should be fastened securely, and zipper tape should be uniform in color if that is important, and zipper should not cause wrinkling or puckering after it is sewn to the garment. A zipper be washed or dry cleaned? Will it fade? Will the slide deform under the processing or pressing or ironing? That should be ascertained. And check the force of the zipper also. It takes to pull open the zipper, how much strength is necessary to do it in the sideways. And pull tab should be affixed firmly to the slider body, and the slider body should ride freely, but must not be so free that it is loose on the chain. Check also to be sure the slider locks surely. Thus, today we have seen how a quality is important in the garment and how we have to inspect the fabric for defects. Defects may be present in the fabric or defects may be present in the accessories that are being used or the linings and other things. And so, one have to be very careful to see the defects or to identify the defects in the beginning itself, so that we can economize the process of making the garments. If they are found when the fabric is being stitched into a garment or after the garment is being stitched, and that we have already done some processing and it is becomes a waste. And so, inspecting the fabric and the before itself will definitely economize the process and also will ensure the quality of the final garment.